Welcome to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In today's episode, we descend into one of the most bizarre and persistent theories in fringe science and alternative history, the Hollow Earth theory. Beneath our feet, past layers of rock and molten core, some believe there lies a hidden world, complete with lush landscapes, strange civilizations, and secrets our governments have gone to great lengths to hide. Tonight, we journey into the Earth and into the unknown. The idea that the Earth is hollow isn't just a modern internet myth. Its roots go back centuries, tangled in a web of myth, misunderstood science, and stories from explorers who vanished without a trace. In the 17th century, a respected English astronomer named Edmund Halley, yes, the same man whose name lives on in Halley's Comet, proposed that Earth might not be solid. He suggested that beneath our crust could be multiple concentric shells, each rotating independently. His ideas weren't born from fantasy, but from an attempt to explain strange magnetic readings on early compasses. Though his theory wasn't widely accepted by his scientific peers, it planted a seed that would sprout in surprising ways over the following centuries. As the age of exploration boomed, reports began trickling in from Arctic explorers. They spoke of unusual warmth in polar regions, of animals migrating north when they should have been heading south for the winter, and of seas that were calm when they should have been frozen. These early travel accounts began to intertwine with Halley's theory, and soon maps appeared showing massive holes at the North and South Poles, gateways, some claimed, to a vast inner world. In the 19th century, a retired US Army captain named John Cleves Sims Jr. became the loudest voice advocating for Hollow Earth. He even petitioned Congress to fund an expedition to find the polar entrance. He believed the Earth was hollow and habitable within, and he gave public lectures across the country, often ridiculed but never silenced. He died before his vision could be tested, but his passion influenced a generation of theorists, writers, and adventurers. As the 20th century dawned, the theory shifted from science-based speculation to something stranger. Stories emerged of German interest in polar expeditions before and during World War II. Some fringe theorists claim that the Nazis discovered secret passages into the Hollow Earth and possibly even made contact with advanced beings living within. While mainstream historians deny such claims, this narrative has persisted and taken on a mythic quality in certain conspiracy circles. Meanwhile, writers of science fiction and the pulp era popularized the Hollow Earth in magazines and novels. Worlds of eternal daylight, underground cities, prehistoric beasts, and flying machines filled these pages. But for some, it wasn't fiction. It was disclosure disguised as entertainment, hints of a reality too shocking to reveal outright. Even in the modern age of satellites and seismic studies, belief in Hollow Earth has not only survived, it's grown. Online forums, YouTube channels, and so-called whistleblowers claim that what we've been taught about the structure of our planet is a carefully crafted lie. Some say governments know the truth, but keep it hidden for reasons of power, control, or protection. Whatever the case, the Hollow Earth theory remains one of the most captivating and controversial ideas in conspiracy lore. The story of Hollow Earth cannot be understood without looking at the cultural and historical environments that allowed it to take root and grow. In the early days of exploration and scientific discovery, humanity's understanding of the natural world was limited and often filled with guesswork. The 16th and 17th centuries marked a time when maps still bore warnings like, "Here be dragons." Unexplored territories were seen not just as physical frontiers, but as spiritual and mythical ones. When Edmund Halley proposed his Hollow Earth model in 1692, it was during an era when scientific knowledge and folklore often blurred. The boundary between science and speculation was far more flexible than it is today. In colonial and imperial nations like Britain and Spain, curiosity about the Earth's structure wasn't just academic, it was political. Control over uncharted lands meant power, and theories about what lay beneath the Earth aligned with larger ambitions of conquest. The unknown was always potentially valuable. Stories about hidden lands, secret passageways, and underground civilizations were viewed through the lens of expansion and dominance. If there were resources or peoples beneath the surface, they too might be claimed, studied, or subdued. Religious ideas also played a significant role. Many early Hollow Earth theories leaned on biblical interpretations. Some Christians pointed to scriptural references of a world below, or depths of the earth, as support for subterranean realms. The concept of Sheol, the underworld mentioned in the Old Testament, was often interpreted literally. In some fringe circles, the Hollow Earth was seen as the true location of hell, while others believed it to be Eden, preserved from the fall of man. These opposing views shared one thing: the belief that something unimaginable lay beneath our feet. By the 19th century, industrialization and rapid technological advancement sparked new waves of curiosity. The growth of geology as a formal science introduced the idea of Earth as a solid, layered planet, but not everyone accepted that explanation. As the public became more educated, many began to challenge official narratives, believing that governments and academic institutions might be hiding truths. The Hollow Earth theory became one of several alternative ideas that flourished in this atmosphere of growing skepticism. At the same time, America was expanding westward, and the idea of lost worlds fascinated the public. This was the age of Jules Verne, who published Journey to the Center of the Earth in 1864. Though a novel, its themes resonated with popular beliefs of the time. People were primed to accept that undiscovered wonders might exist just beyond the known. As European empires sent expeditions to the poles, strange reports filtered back, tales of warm water, red snow, and unusual animal behavior. These accounts were often vague or second-hand, but they were enough to stir imaginations. When explorers went missing or ships disappeared, some began to speculate that they hadn't perished, but had found another world, one hidden beneath the ice. In this mixture of myth, religion, nationalism, and distrust of official channels, the Hollow Earth theory found fertile ground. It became more than a scientific oddity. It was a symbol of hidden truths, and for some a hopeful idea that there was more to our world than met the eye. One of the most influential figures in bringing the Hollow Earth theory to mainstream attention was John Cleves Sims, Jr. A former army officer turned lecturer, Sims was not a scientist in the traditional sense, but his conviction was unshakable. In 1818, he published a circular declaring that the Earth was hollow and habitable within, with large openings at both the North and South poles. He called upon the enterprising and intelligent to join him in an expedition to prove his claim. Though his ideas were mocked by much of the academic world, Sims gained a dedicated following and toured the United States giving public talks. Sim's vision wasn't vague. He imagined the Earth as a series of concentric spheres, like a Russian nesting doll, each rotating and illuminated by a central sun. He believed people, plants, and animals lived within these inner layers. To many, it sounded like fantasy. But Sims was persuasive, and his confidence inspired a surprising number of believers. He even convinced a member of Congress, Richard M. Johnson, to propose a government-funded expedition to the Arctic. Though the plan never came to fruition, it left a mark. After Sims' death in 1829, his ideas were taken up by writers and adventurers who turned his theory into a new kind of mythology. In 1864, the science fiction genre gave the theory a wider platform when Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth captured imaginations around the globe. Though fictional, the novel introduced readers to the idea that ancient worlds could lie beneath the surface, complete with prehistoric creatures and underground seas. The story borrowed freely from Sims' earlier vision, mixing science with speculation. In the early 20th century, a new name emerged, Marshall B. Gardner. In 1913, he published A Journey to the Earth's Interior, in which he proposed a single-shell hollow Earth, complete with a central sun. Gardner believed that polar openings were real and that explorers like Admiral Richard Byrd had flown over them without understanding what they had seen. Gardner even patented a globe design that featured large holes at both poles. Then came the mysterious figure of Admiral Byrd himself. Byrd was a celebrated American naval officer and polar explorer. In the 1940s and 1950s, he led several expeditions to Antarctica. His official logs described harsh terrain and difficult weather, but later reports, often unverified or second-hand, claimed he had witnessed something strange: lush greenery, flying craft, and a land that didn't appear on any map. These rumours quickly became fodder for Hollow Earth believers. A widely circulated but disputed diary, allegedly written by Byrd, described entering the Hollow Earth and meeting advanced beings. Though historians consider the document a hoax, many in the conspiracy world treat it as truth. These figures, Sims, Gardner, Byrd, became icons in the Hollow Earth narrative. Whether through genuine belief, curiosity, or manipulation, they shaped the story and gave it faces the public could follow. Their legacies continue to influence the theory today, keeping alive the idea that our planet hides more than we've been told. Supporters of the Hollow Earth theory often point to a set of recurring claims they believe prove its reality. Chief among these are the so-called polar openings, vast holes said to exist at the North and South Poles, large enough for aircraft to pass through. Believers argue that satellite images of these regions are often obscured, edited, or blurred, not because of cloud cover or technical limitations, but to deliberately hide the entrances to the inner world. They claim governments around the world, particularly the United States, have cooperated to keep these features off public maps and out of global awareness. Another key piece of evidence comes from the strange behaviour of compasses near the poles. Explorers dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries reported unusual magnetic activity, needles spinning or pointing in unexpected directions. Mainstream science attributes these anomalies to the natural complexity of Earth's magnetic field, which doesn't align perfectly with the geographic poles. But Hollow Earth theorists argue that the magnetic disturbances are actually caused by the structure of the hollow planet itself and the existence of an interior sun, radiating both light and electromagnetic energy. Eyewitness reports from Arctic explorers are also held up as evidence. Some of these individuals claimed to see birds flying north in winter, large rivers flowing out from the ice, and even mammoth carcasses preserved in the permafrost, animals believed to have vanished from the surface long ago. The theory posits that these creatures didn't go extinct but instead migrated to a warmer climate within the Earth. Supporters argue that a self-contained ecosystem could exist in the hollow interior, one that maintains life without sunlight, through the heat and light of the inner sun. Then there are the so-called ancient maps. The Mercator projection and certain early globes, such as the 16th century work of cartographer Gerardus Mercator, are said to depict strange polar regions that don't align with today's geography. Hollow Earth theorists interpret these as historical evidence of a different understanding of the planet's shape and features. Some believe these cartographers were drawing from sources long since lost, perhaps records of ancient civilizations or knowledge preserved from a pre-flood era. Perhaps the most dramatic claims involve the alleged testimonies of whistleblowers. Over the past several decades, individuals claiming to be former military personnel or government contractors have come forward with stories about underground tunnels, hidden entrances, and classified missions related to inner Earth exploration. One former naval officer recounted a tale of being stationed at a polar base where unusual aerial activity occurred nightly. Another anonymous source claimed to have been part of a team that drilled far deeper than was publicly admitted, only to have their mission halted without explanation. These stories are rarely backed by hard evidence, but within conspiracy circles, they're treated with reverence. The absence of official confirmation is, in the eyes of believers, part of the cover-up. The Hollow Earth theory depends heavily on these kinds of testimonies and visual anomalies, circumstantial and controversial, yet compelling enough to keep the theory alive for those searching for a world within a world. The heart of the Hollow Earth theory rests on a few recurring claims, but when these are examined in detail, their credibility starts to crack. The supposed polar openings, often described as massive holes visible from space, have never been confirmed by any reliable satellite imagery. Satellite data from multiple nations, including private companies and independent researchers, consistently show no such anomalies. Advocates say these images are doctored, But the consistency across global data sources makes this claim harder to defend. If a massive hole existed at either pole, it would interfere with weather patterns, gravitational readings, and global flight paths, none of which show signs of such disturbances. The compass anomalies cited by early explorers are well documented, but they've been thoroughly explained by modern science. Near the magnetic poles, the Earth's magnetic field becomes more vertical, which causes traditional compasses to behave erratically. This has nothing to do with a hollow structure and is instead a predictable feature of the planet's magnetic behavior. The phenomenon has been recreated and studied in controlled environments, leaving little room for alternative interpretations based solely on compass behavior. Eyewitness accounts of unusual animal migration, like birds flying north in winter, can also be explained. Many Arctic species follow irregular migration paths based on food availability and temperature shifts, not cardinal direction. Some birds migrate northwest or northeast rather than due south, which can look strange to someone expecting a linear pattern. As for mammoth carcasses, their preservation in ice is a result of permafrost, not evidence of a warm underground refuge. These creatures roamed the Earth during the last ice age, and their remains have been discovered all across Siberia and Alaska, regions with no connection to polar entrances or interior lands. The ancient maps often cited by theorists, such as those drawn by Gerardus Mercator, were products of limited knowledge and imagination. Cartographers in the 16th century filled in blank areas with artistic representations or second-hand tales from sailors. Just because a map shows a landmass near the pole doesn't mean that land actually existed. It means the cartographer lacked accurate data. These maps were guesses, not records of advanced knowledge. Scholars of historical cartography agree that such drawings reflect the mindset and beliefs of the time, not hidden truths. Whistleblower testimonies are more difficult to analyze, but that's part of the problem. Many of these accounts are anonymous, unverifiable, or come from people with unclear backgrounds. In the rare cases where identities are known, the individuals often have no documented connection to government or military operations. Some have even been linked to hoaxes or discredited claims in other conspiracy circles. Without physical evidence or corroboration, these stories remain speculative at best. Attempts to drill deep into the Earth, like the Soviet Kola Superdeep Borehole project, have provided detailed knowledge about Earth's layers. The project reached over 40,000 feet deep, but found no sign of hollow chambers or vast cavities. Seismic data, collected from thousands of earthquakes over decades, paints a clear picture of a layered Earth with a molten core. These readings would behave very differently if massive hollow spaces existed within the planet. Despite its popularity, much of the Hollow Earth theory rests on misinterpretations, half-truths, and data taken out of context. When the claims are weighed against decades of scientific research, the foundation begins to crumble. Yet belief persists, not because of evidence, but because of something else entirely. While mainstream science and historical records challenge the Hollow Earth theory at nearly every turn, skepticism itself has become part of the conspiracy. Supporters argue that the intensity of scientific denial is evidence of a cover-up, not disproof. They see experts and institutions not as neutral arbiters of truth, but as gatekeepers of a global secret. In this mindset, the more aggressively something is debunked, the more likely it is to be true. This distrust of authority runs deep in Hollow Earth circles and is shared across a wide range of conspiratorial beliefs. For some, the theory represents more than a hidden realm. It reflects the belief that powerful organizations manipulate knowledge for control. In this view, universities, government agencies, and space programs are not engaged in open inquiry, but in the deliberate suppression of forbidden knowledge. The scientific community's rejection of the Hollow Earth theory is seen not as a reflection of evidence, but as complicity. Some claim that scientists are threatened, silenced, or bribed into supporting the solid Earth model. These ideas rarely come with proof, but their appeal lies in emotional logic rather than academic rigor. Psychologically, the theory taps into deep human themes: discovery, secrecy, and the possibility of an untouched paradise. Hollow Earth isn't just a question about geology. It's a story about a hidden world untouched by corruption or conflict. It offers an escape from the chaos of the surface and imagines a place where purity and truth survive. That idea, even without evidence, can be more powerful than facts. People want to believe there's more to reality than what we're shown. The Earth, in this theory, becomes a symbol for the hidden depths of our own understanding, layers of meaning beneath a carefully maintained surface. The theory also survives because it has become part of a broader narrative shared across other conspiracy communities. It often overlaps with beliefs in lost civilizations like Atlantis, ancient advanced technologies, secret Nazi bases and UFOs. For example, some say the Hollow Earth is home to the descendants of Lemuria or Atlantis, civilizations that survived extinction by moving underground. Others tie the theory to alien visitation, suggesting that extraterrestrials don't come from distant stars, but from inside our own planet. In this framework, Hollow Earth isn't a standalone idea. It's a node in a vast web of alternative history. The media plays a role as well. From science fiction films to YouTube documentaries, the Hollow Earth theory has been kept alive in popular culture. Even when presented as fiction, these stories reach audiences who may be more open to the possibility than they realize. Every new film, novel or viral video that touches on the idea helps sustain its place in the public imagination. In some cases, the theory is treated with a wink and a nod. In others, with dead seriousness. The line between entertainment and belief blurs, and in that grey space, conspiracy theories thrive. While experts continue to point out the flaws in the theory, those flaws do little to dissuade the committed. For them, the Hollow Earth is not just a place. It's a lens through which they see the world, one in which the truth is always just out of reach, hidden beneath layers of deception. The Hollow Earth theory, like many fringe ideas, carries implications that go far beyond geology. For those who believe, it challenges the very framework of knowledge and trust in modern institutions. If the Earth is not what we've been told, what else might be a lie? This mindset extends into other areas: history, medicine, astronomy, even time itself. The theory becomes a gateway, not just to an imagined world beneath us, but to an alternate version of reality where hidden truths are everywhere and nothing can be accepted at face value. Culturally, the theory taps into the human tendency to mythologize the unknown. Every civilization has stories of underworlds, sacred realms beneath the ground or lost inner lands. In ancient Greek mythology, there was Hades. In Tibetan Buddhism, Shambhala. In Christianity, hell lies below. Even in Norse legends, the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree, lead to realms hidden beneath the earth. Hollow Earth theorists often point to these stories not as metaphor, but as ancient knowledge that's been misinterpreted or deliberately suppressed. They believe our ancestors knew the truth, and that modern science has simply forgotten or buried it. Politically, the theory reflects a growing sense of alienation. Many who subscribe to Hollow Earth ideas feel disconnected from mainstream society. They view global systems as corrupt, their leaders as dishonest, and media as complicit in a broader agenda. The theory allows for a narrative in which the believer becomes part of a hidden truth, holding knowledge that powerful entities want to keep secret. This can be empowering for people who feel unheard or marginalized. It offers a way to reclaim agency, even if that agency exists mostly in theory. Psychologically, belief in a Hollow Earth provides comfort. The world above is full of war, disease, climate crisis, and political conflict. The idea of a peaceful, untouched realm beneath the surface offers an emotional escape. In some versions of the theory, the beings who live inside are described as enlightened and kind, guardians of a better way of life, possibly waiting for the right moment to emerge and help humanity. This utopian element is especially appealing in uncertain times. It transforms the theory into more than just a mystery. It becomes a hope. There's also a spiritual dimension to the belief. Some view the Hollow Earth as a sacred place, possibly a gateway to higher consciousness or divine truth. Certain interpretations suggest the inner sun is not just a physical source of light, but a symbol of inner enlightenment. In this sense, the theory becomes a metaphor for personal transformation, moving from surface-level thinking to deeper understanding, from external chaos to internal peace. While critics dismiss the theory as pseudoscience, Its cultural and emotional impact is real. It speaks to the parts of human nature that long for wonder, meaning, and the idea that the world still holds secrets. Even if the Earth is solid and layered, as science says, the appeal of something hidden and vast beneath us isn't likely to disappear. For many, the hollow Earth isn't just about what's under the ground, it's about what's missing from the surface. Among the more fringe interpretations of the hollow Earth theory are those that stretch beyond hidden geography and venture into realms of metaphysics, extraterrestrials, and alternate dimensions. One of the most persistent claims is that advanced beings, whether aliens, ancient humans, or interdimensional entities, reside within the Earth and have for thousands of years. These beings are often described as more intelligent and peaceful than surface dwellers, possessing technology far beyond our own and spiritual wisdom humanity has long forgotten. Some theorists suggest that these inner Earth inhabitants are the survivors of Atlantis or Lemuria, ancient civilizations said to have vanished under the oceans. According to these ideas, these civilizations didn't perish, but retreated underground, preserving their knowledge and culture in a vast subterranean sanctuary. The idea borrows heavily from theosophical writings of the late 19th and early 20th centuries, particularly those of Helena Blavatsky, who spoke of hidden masters and inner world beings guiding the evolution of humankind from behind the scenes. Other interpretations propose a direct connection between hollow Earth and UFO phenomena. In this view, the strange crafts seen in our skies do not necessarily come from distant galaxies, but from the deep recesses of our own planet. Hollow Earth believers claim that unidentified flying objects have been seen entering and exiting the poles, disappearing into oceans or mountain ranges, vanishing in ways that suggest access to hidden tunnels or passages. Some even propose that the so-called Greys or other alien species are actually inner Earth dwellers, misunderstood by the surface world. There's also the idea of Agartha, a mythical kingdom said to exist within the Earth, ruled by an advanced race often depicted as tall, Nordic-like humans. Agartha is sometimes portrayed as a utopia, with no crime, disease or war. It is described as a place of pure harmony and high vibrational energy, shielded from the corrupting influence of the outer world. Access is said to be restricted to a select few, either through spiritual readiness or by invitation. The legend of Agartha blends Eastern and Western esoteric traditions, creating a kind of mystical geography that appeals to spiritual seekers as well as conspiracy theorists. Even more radical are those who claim that Hollow Earth serves as a portal to other dimensions. In these interpretations, the inner world is not a physical space in the traditional sense, but a kind of energetic or frequency-based realm that coexists with ours. Accessing it requires more than travel. It requires consciousness shifts or vibrational alignment. This merges the theory with ideas from New Age philosophy, suggesting that the Earth itself is alive, aware, and part of a cosmic network of hidden worlds. While these views stray far from science, they highlight how the Hollow Earth theory functions as a vessel for a wide range of beliefs. For some, it's a physical mystery waiting to be uncovered. For others, it's a spiritual symbol or a cosmic truth hiding in plain sight. In these fringe interpretations, the Earth becomes more than just a planet. It becomes a layered story, one that reveals different truths depending on how deep you're willing to go. From its early roots in the writings of Halley and Sims to the speculative visions of underground cities and enlightened beings, the Hollow Earth theory has endured not because of overwhelming evidence, but because of its emotional and symbolic resonance. It represents the allure of the unknown, the possibility that something extraordinary might lie just beneath the surface of our everyday world. In that sense, it's not only a theory about the Earth, it's a story about us. Our desire for discovery, our mistrust of authority, our hope that paradise might still exist somewhere untouched. The theory weaves together science, myth, and cultural memory into a compelling tapestry. It borrows the language of exploration, the sacredness of ancient texts, the defiance of rebellion, and the wonder of science fiction. It's been shaped by war, religion, political movements, and popular culture, adapting to the needs and fears of each new era. For some, it offers escape. For others, a sense of belonging. And for many, it's a challenge to look deeper, not just into the Earth, but into the systems that define what we are told is true. Even as seismic data, satellite images, and deep Earth drilling contradict its claims, belief in Hollow Earth persists. The facts matter less than the feeling. To those who embrace it, the theory is part of a larger pattern, a world filled with secrets, where history is rewritten by the powerful and truth is always just out of reach. In this view, denial by experts only strengthens the theory's appeal. If they're trying so hard to disprove it, believers ask, what are they trying to hide? The Hollow Earth theory also serves as a kind of narrative glue in the broader conspiracy landscape. It connects with ideas about UFOs, secret Nazi technology, ancient civilizations, and global elites. In doing so, it reinforces a worldview where official narratives are suspect and alternative explanations are more believable than those backed by institutions. It's not just about what's inside the Earth, it's about questioning the surface world itself. Yet even for those who don't believe, the theory's endurance says something important. It shows how deeply humans crave wonder and mystery. In a world mapped by GPS and monitored by satellites, the idea of hidden worlds still captivates. It reminds us that, despite all our knowledge, the urge to imagine something more never fades. Whether as literal belief or symbolic myth, the Hollow Earth lives on in stories, in speculation, and in the quiet spaces between fact and faith. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups on Spotify. Subscribe now.